welcome to another episode of Monday Morning Express. Dan, I gotta say, I love the boxes.
They're here.
We've gotten them in. They're here. Before we just had the samples, the pre-production samples, but this is the real deal, and they look really good, don't they?
I think the effort paid off because the project is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got all 5 sizes, and certainly the boxes with the foam and everything that we had promised with them. We have the little area in the front where we can put our labels on, and of course our colored labels.
Yes.
Right? So this is important for us in our box design, because instead of making all of the different box colors, which can get quite costly to keep different colors on the shelves, we've incorporated that into the label itself, which makes it for easy reference.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that before, but a lot of forethought went into making this as simple as could be, both for ourselves and stocking it, but also for our customers, where they can easily have a box that will fit whatever they need. I like the labels. We've had a number of loose items that have accumulated around here, so I've enjoyed printing them out. And yeah, just little details like where to put the label so it's perfect. It's very satisfying to put that label on there and see how nice when they all line up, everything looks just so.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's take a look at the foam. Because, the foam...
Yeah, you told me this is very important, but I'm a little dense. Oh, no, you said the density of the foam is very important.
Right.
But in reality, this was a big deal to us.
Absolutely. And we
in
went
fact,
back
there
and
was
forth.
a little delay, just over that.
Yeah, 3 and 4 different types of foams that we had to go through before we settled in on this particular type.
Right.
Which is good. It's a good sturdy
seems
foam.
perfect,
Yeah,
yes.
it'll work. And then also you got the rolling stock box there, just as a sample of the little portions that we can pull out to customize each piece.
And again, this is tricky because if they came out too easy, that wouldn't be good. But if they came out too hard, and so we've been kind of testing these out with just a large variety of different models, and so far they just seem to work very good. And our initial feedback from our rollout has been super positive as well.
Really, really good. Yeah, some have asked about selling the foam by itself, but at this point we're just selling it all together as one piece. And for us to go through and make foam for different manufacturers' boxes would be quite difficult to do.
Sure. Yeah, and also it's difficult to ship because with dimensional weights, the cost could be very expensive shipping. Might as well just get the box, and we're happy to have this product out there. And again, the support overall has been really strong. And there's other reasons that we feel this box protects the model. Of course, we think about just the foam, and we understand how some customers would like to have, the foam to fit their box. But what this box does is it really protects the model in other ways. We feel it protects their investment in the sense that down the road, if something should happen, whoever ends up having to dispose of this collection, we don't like to think about those type of things, but if something's in this box, they know it's valuable.
Right.
And with what's on this label, they know exactly what it is. And if the clients will take the time to enter the BG number, some have said, well, why is that on there? I don't normally use that. But what a perfect way to identify a model, especially if somebody would ever have to resell it that wasn't as familiar with the model as maybe we are as collectors. So we don't like to think about those things, but it's just something we deal with a lot over the last 20 plus years. Seeing family members that try to determine if something's valuable, they don't know the difference between plastic and brass. We had one collection once where we went up there and it was a beautiful brass collection, but what had happened is the local club had taken all the painted items because they said, oh, the brass is very valuable, but these plastic items aren't. Well, those items weren't properly boxed, and we could only identify it later, have seen the original list. And it was just a shame that type of thing happens. But again, when the models are properly identified like this, it will protect the investment even long into the future.
Yeah, and that's why we've made it, really, it's easy when you think about it. You go onto our website, you place an order for the box. At the checkout process, we actually have a little video type instructions that shows you how to go through and choose the color
Right.
for the importer per se, and then also the information that's on there. And if you didn't want to use the brass guide number, I don't know who wouldn't want to, but if you didn't want to, you could actually type in that information yourself, whatever
Sure.
you wanted on the label. So
And you can edit it even after
Yeah,
you use the brass guide number,
absolutely.
however you want.
yeah, absolutely. So, very important to have a label on there. So we encourage our customers to do that. And they've done a good job so far.
Yes.
We must say, they've done a good job so far. And across the board, we've actually seen some pretty good sales already here in
Sure.
the first couple of weeks.
And I love the colors. You brought it
Yeah.
up, but we instantly recognize this is PSC. This is an Overland.
Go
we
right
don't even
down.
have to read it. We just know. And so when it's on
Sure.
the shelves, it's nice to spot it like that too. So I think when our clients get used to seeing that little color code, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I really like that on my Reeboks." And
Yeah.
again, that's why we can get away with just a black box. We can still identify each model very quickly from a distance. So.
Very
real
cool.
Proud
We're
of
happy,
this.
right?
Great
Real
product.
happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really
Excellent.
proud of it.
So hey, listen. So up on our show today, we're also got mail time. We're going to talk with Boyd Reyes, who was here a few
heard
weeks
some
ago.
neat questions.
Some good questions that our customers are asking. We're actually going to see not his best, not his painting, because he's a great painter.
Sure.
But he's just not a good drawer. He's
No,
not a good artist.
well,
you're going to see
I
that.
thought he worked for Disney. Something. No?
Yeah. So we look forward to that in mail time. But and then at the end of the show, we've got a nice surprise, don't we?
Yeah.
People are wondering maybe what's going on the screen
Yeah.
behind us. and
I'm
we'll-
wondering what's going on. Oh, that's a surprise. Well, we'll
Yeah.
be happy to tell them
We're
about
gonna-
that.
we're gonna fill 'em in.
So we're going to get them out to mail time now?
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
We decided to do another episode of Mail Time. And who better to do Mail Time with than Mr. Boyd Reyes? So, Boyd, we're going to shoot you with some questions. You sure you got the answers to these?
I'll do my best.
Yeah, you're gonna do just fine.
All
just
right.
fine. So this question comes from a customer, Dan, in Ogden, Utah. It's not Dan Glazier, so don't worry about
All
it.
right, yeah.
All right. So Dan in Utah asks some good questions. He says, "What sizes of steel screws should you have on hand when working on a brass steam locomotive?"
On a brass steam
Brass
locomotive,
steam.
yeah.
And I'll help you even with that one, Dan.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got our 1.4s, 1.7s, and 2 millimeters, and those
Yeah.
are general screws. I mean, there are some others that we use, but those are generally used on the brass locomotive.
I would try to carry a lot of the 2 millimeters are
Yeah.
very, very common.
Right.
So those are good to have.
Okay.
Different lengths. Try to get them black.
Yeah,
that
black
way
is
you don't
always
have-
good.
You know, black is really nice underneath. It won't show up.
Okay.
Those are really good. From Northwest Shortline.
Northwest Shortline. Yeah.
Yeah, local hobby stores. Yeah, they have that stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. His second question is, what size of screws are used to attach? Now, being specific here, the
Okay.
floor to a brass passenger car. He said he's lost some. You have one here.
Yes, I have a brass passenger car, and the most common, I'd have to say, is the 2 millimeter.
Okay.
Yeah. Try to get them black also, because that way when you flip the car, you're not seeing shiny screws. But he's going to have to carry other ones too. I've seen so many different manufacturers, but the most common, at least 80%, are the 2 millimeters. You will need the 1.4s for right here, like the side of your cupper pockets. The cupper pockets, the side mounting screws are the 1.4. But if you have a hole drilled in the center, then you go with the 2s.
Okay.
But yeah, those are good screws to have. I would always buy a packet of them
Yeah,
and
and
keep
you
them
can get
aside.
that
yeah.
at Northwest Shortline. You can get them by the package. I mean, I think
Oh,
you can get
yeah.
them even by the hundreds. So, you don't
Those
need that
always
many,
get lost.
But,
yeah, they always get lost.
Yeah,
you
you
know?
can even get smaller packets of those. So yeah, we'll go ahead and try to post some of that information, or you can
Yeah.
definitely email us if you don't have this, Northwest Shortline. So we'll get you that info. Our last question from Dan here is, what thickness of plastic is Boyd using for the base of the passenger car interior he is working on?
Okay. I usually go with like maybe the plastic that I use. I cut all my plastic on a paper cutter.
Right, we saw that.
And if you can cut it on your paper, I'd go with a pretty thick, but try to go like 0.04, 40.
Okay.
And you can get that stuff from Evergreen Products.
Yes.
And you buy it in the wide sheet. It's like, 6 inches by 10 inches long. and just put it in the paper cutter and just cut your strips. And the reason I go thick is I don't want that bottom of the car to warp or give an uneven surface. So try to go with the thickness that it's manageable, not too thin where it's going to just bend all over the place or warp. I try to use, for all the side walls, you know, the .40 is a really good size, you know, for the walls, because when you look inside a passenger car, you don't want to see your walls warping or kind of curving. So even for the floor.
Okay. So Evergreen Products is a good source for that.
Yeah, Evergreen Products. They sell a lot of good stuff.
Okay.
And but for like for your shades in the car, you can go with that really thin stuff, like probably, I'd say like .020.
Okay.
Yeah. You're better off with that.
Good
Just
thing
something
you got
very
the caliper
thin.
with you, right?
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's like it's hard for me to remember numbers, but I can see it on
You
this
can see it
thing.
on there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, let's go to one more question. We're going to take it away from screws and passenger cars here. And we get this from customers actually quite a bit. We were talking with our guys up front and asking them, hey, what are some of the other questions that you're getting from customers who call in wanting to do things? And one of those is on a locomotive, on a passenger car, whatever it is, whether it's a number or wording or anything, how do you go about just changing a number on a locomotive?
It's so easy to change a number. That's what everybody tells me. Oh,
right.
boy, here's a.
I would like
I'm
to
going to
know.
give you a car here. You can change the number. It's very easy. Easy job for you to do. Oh, we've been burned. We've been burned before. Painters, it's like, you're giving something and then.
You can't just take the eraser and just. Because you know, explain that process, of course, as we saw on previous episodes. You know, the painting and then the decaling, right? The numbers.
Yeah.
But then you have these coats that go over it, right? Our clear coat,
your clear coats,
satin finish, whatever it is. Those are sealed in for a reason.
Yeah, but there's pad printing. There's reverse decal technology. There's your standard decals. That stuff. They all react different.
Okay.
Well,
we got our dry erase board. You want to show us?
Yeah, let me show you. Yeah.
Yeah, this is our MME dry erase board.
Yeah.
It's official.
Stick figure. Alrighty. Let's say we were given an engine, a locomotive. I'll just put some numbers right up here. I'll start it off with, like, let's say the cab of a locomotive. You know, you have your visor coming down, and here's your window for the cab. So right here we have, let's say, 5511. We had these numbers on the bottom of your cab. Okay. And you want to change these. Well, let me draw the front.
Boy, it's a good thing you're a painter and not an artist.
I know, yeah. I'll draw the stick man. Here's Dan right here going.
Go a little lower, shorter.
So we have 5511. I go, but I already have that number. I want a different number. And everyone goes, Boyd, can you just change this to a 2?
Sure.
See how easy that is?
Yeah.
Voila,
If it was dry erase.
voila. It's like, since the models come from different manufacturers, everything's not done the same.
Right.
You know, I always have to ask, who painted it? Where was it imported? Who, if it's a custom painter.
Because you need to know the decal, right? If it's
I need to know, the decal. If it's reversed, and to change that number, if it's a microscale decal, like if a custom painter did this, your chances are you can just go buy another microscale sheet and just cut out the number and replace it. But if it's a custom pad print, custom, reverse decal, your numbers are not going to match. You're going to do different shades.
Sure.
And the problem is, I just changed out that one digit, you will see it, and you're better off changing all the numbers.
So all 4 numbers is what you
have to be removed,
right? Can I ask this question? Because if it was a micro scale decal, now if it was put on originally a 5, a 1, a 2, fine. But what if it was all put on together as one full number? See, then you would have to remove all of it, right?
Yeah, it's better to remove it all. But if they had the numbers in pieces, especially if you're using decals from microscale, I would suggest this, because you are technically going to have film around every number.
Right.
Your film is like this. So just to handle, like let's say you wanted to change the 1 or the 2. Let's go with the 2 again. What I do, if it is a micro scale decal, get a very sharp razor blade.
Okay.
Very sharp. Open it up out of the package fresh. Cut a line, barely drag that blade across the film. What you're trying to do is break the film.
Yeah, so you can peel it?
Yes, you're gonna open it up in a sense, and you're gonna use a very strong tape, you know. And I put the tape where it's not going to disturb the other numbers. So let's say we want to get rid of this 2. I would put the tape like this, in this direction,
Yeah.
and then pull on it hard. All you need is a bit of this film to peel off, and so now you can come in with a wet brush with some Solvaset,
Sure.
and start peeling off your numbers. So what you're doing, technically, you're like if this was the brass and here's like underneath a microscope, you're gonna see the film like this.
Right.
And once you break underneath with your brush, you're trying to lift this up in this direction.
Sure.
You know, so with your brush, you're trying to lift up and once you got it lifted up a little bit, you could keep on putting water and Solvaset. You know, not too much Solvaset, because it's going to melt it even faster, but put water, and the water will penetrate this bottom area and start lifting it up, loosening it up again. Even though you may have a clear coat on top, once you slice it barely, the clear coat has no chance. Now it's going to allow water to get in there and penetrate and start lifting up that decal again. So that's one way if you can handle it with microscale decals.
And I guess even at that point, you still want to make sure that you talk about barely, because you don't want to
Barely.
cut through that.
You don't want to cut through the paint.
Cut through the paint, right?
You'll go through the clear coat. The clear coat is very thin.
Right.
But you know, look at the model carefully. I've seen models that were done by custom painters that have no clear coat.
Right. Okay.
So you have to look at it to see, okay, is there a thick clear coat? If you have a thick clear coat, and here's the other danger. We're going to take a look at these numbers. So you're going to have.
So that's our top view.
Yeah,
looking
this
down.
is sort of like a side view of the decals. So this is where with the 5, 5, 1, 2 would be right here. Side view. And if they threw in a clear coat that's pretty thick.
Right.
Here's the danger. If that clear coat is really thick and you're trying to lift up, you're going to pull this off and you're going to leave a hole, a trench.
Now you've got
now you have a trench. And when you look at the model from a side view, you will see something like this.
Right.
And then you have to come in with your decal and fill that up again. And that's
And then, but you still got to cover it with a clear coat or something, don't you?
Yes.
And then when you do that, you're raising everything at the same time, so you're going
Yeah.
to always see that there.
So on a locomotive, on the side of the cab, there is a ridge right here where the cab, and so I tend to work from the edge of the cab to the front of the cab to the bottom. I try to use this as my whole area. I will sometimes color sand. There's certain papers that you can use, and just you have a little bowl of water.
A very,
and just
very fine grain.
very fine. It should not feel like sandpaper at all.
Like
it's just gonna
6,000, 8,000.
Yeah, you can get them
very
at
fine.
even sandpaper down at beauty supplies. You
Yeah.
know where they do the nails, they polish. It's mostly polishing, and you can sit there and just wet it and just go around in an emotion where you do take off that clear coat and you will take off the lettering.
Okay.
Sometimes putting in harsh chemicals will cause the decal to dissolve and attack the paint. So now you got to even go down. Just try it out with water and Solvaset, a little bit of that in there, and then color sanding, and work with this whole area, because when you go back and respray, you will mask everything and leave this whole area where you put in your new numbers, mask all that. That way go to line, because if you don't go to the edge of the frame or the body, you're gonna see little tiny lines where you did your masking.
absolutely, yeah.
Just like any automotive place, you know, when you have a little key, somebody keyed your car, they don't deal with that. They deal with the whole door panel.
Right.
You know, so they go to an edge, and that's what you're going to have to do. Just go to an edge where you can cover that. So that's you know, the one thing that I always ask, was it decaled by custom painter? And that's, your chances of changing number are pretty good.
Sure.
I've seen some manufacturers use pad print. And pad print is, wow, depending on the inks, sometimes you can get rid of it with an eraser, like you said, you know, with a pencil, and you can just sit there and rub it off.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes on a Union Pacific locomotive where the numbers are in red and the field in the back is yellow, those red numbers may bleed. You know, when they applied it, it could attack the paint behind it. So your chances are better if you have a dark field and light numbers. You can get it like a Santa Fe where it has yellow numbers, red in the back. Yeah, if you wanted a color change, your chances are better that, you know, you don't have to repaint the whole.
So not an easy task to be able to do something like this, that's for sure.
Reverse decal technology, like if you have models, what is it, from Boo Rim, they use reverse decals, and sometimes I found out that taking off a little bit of the clear coat, just like slight wet sanding, I can get a toothpick and take off the numbers. If you come in here with the toothpick, I kind of like shave the toothpick down with a razor blade to get it flat, and I can come in and pry right on the bottom. If I come in with a toothpick, I can start lifting it up. I mean, it just cracks.
Yeah.
It cracks. I mean, it's held on there really good, but if you keep on attacking it from the side, you can get those numbers to pop off, and then just go there and buy it. But you have to redo all the numbers because you can't copy a reverse decal number. The colors may be different, the size, you know.
But it's still important to replace all the numbers.
All the numbers.
Because you're not going to match it. Yeah, you're not going to match it.
If you had a sheet of the reverse decals, yeah, you could do it, you know. And I have that capability of having the sheets in stock if somebody needed a number change. But yeah, I would, you know, start off fresh. Some of the other manufacturers, you know, I've seen some of the pad printing. It's just weird. Like there was a passenger car that said Southern Pacific lines on there, and the guy wanted Southern Pacific, so I had to erase the line section. And I'm out there trying to hit this, but when I removed the lines, it went down to the brass. There was no green behind it. It went down like they sprayed the car yellow, and then they masked off the lettering and then shot the color up on top. So that color went all the way down to the brass. So that threw me off. And those are repaints. But when you do that, instead of painting the whole thing, if you color sand your area, you can go through and color sand and just try to get your paint to match, you know, find whatever is closest and kind of like feather it in really low. And then you can blend it in. You know, it's very hard to get your colors to match. I mean, these things could have been painted years ago, but I'd say you may have to do some custom mixing. Spray it, let it dry, compare it. You know, it takes a while. You know, you may have to lighten it, darken it, but it can be done, but it's not that easy process where everybody goes, it's easy. It's very easy. You know, $10, I'll pay you $10 to change the number.
Wow.
Right. I've had guys, you know, a very good friend of mine, he had a daylight locomotive and they said, I want a number change. He went to go remove the number and sure enough, the daylight orange stripe on the side was decal too. So it ate that. And now you can't match that orange. So the whole tender, the whole tender had it. So beware. It is harder than you think. You know, it's a gamble. We don't know what's underneath. I don't know how it was done, you know, unless I was there at the factory. So that's the thing, you know, it's...
Well, you helped us out a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry I ruined it for you guys, you know, but it takes a while, you know, it's a lot.
Well, hey, before you erase it, you know, Dan's always wanted to be an engineer, you know. Thanks, boys.
Yeah.
You've really made his dreams come true.
Yeah, there he is. He's official.
Excellent.
Yeah. You know, going back to, you know, The passenger car interior, I forgot to show, when you have an interior, the reason I go with the thick plastic, remember that these cars, like a side view of this car, looking in this direction, you're going to have the shell. And in here is a stiffening bar. They solder the bar. And this bar is to attach the floor.
Right.
So here would be the sub-base floor. And then your trucks are down. Your trucks are down here in this area. But this floor coming up, so when I drop in my interior, I make sure that it sits right here above this angle section right there. And I apply my glue right here in this area and then pull it down. So when you guys are building the floor to come in here to drop in place, like I said, those strips, like let's say here's a strip, I always make sure I punch a bunch of holes. With a hole puncher,
so you can pull it down, yeah.
You can pull it down, because the worst thing is that when you put it up inside, when you tilt it at an angle in here, trying to pull it back down, that's where you're gonna have the problems. Put holes so that way you can grab it, pull it down. Be aware of the screw holes on the side. So you may have to notch it to support the screw holes, the mounting screw holes, when you get it in place. And it doesn't have to be one piece.
Right.
If it's easier for you to do, just cut this. Once you have the full length, you can cut it into sections. Like let's say this is a certain type of sleeping area, this is a lounge, whatever. You can cut it and work with 3 individual pieces. And so when you're done, mount it 3 ways, you know. But always remember that you have to put the holes for the truck screws in there.
They're bigger,
The bigger holes. So when you do line it up, make sure your holes line up to the bottom of the plastic, and that the bolster screw is going to go through.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, we could look back at it. I know we showed this in another episode. Filmed with you out in California.
Yeah,
a hole punch you use, Excellent. Well, hey. Well, Boyd, we really appreciate it. This has been quite a mail time episode. We got many questions answered, and we saw that they were all easy.
You know, by me showing these techniques and stuff, then they'll understand, oh boy, there's a lot more to it, you know? And because I always getting hit with the question, oh, is it pretty easy to change out numbers? And, you know, and when nobody wants to really pay to get a number change, I have to argue with them. It's like, look, there's a lot more to it, you know? It's, this stuff takes, it could be easy. And I'll let them know it's no problem, take that out. But other times it's like I have to give that phone call and say, I have to repaint. And you know, the thing is that when you do a repaint or do have to color sand, always remove the glass. Because the entire car has to be clear coated again. So you have to pull out the interior, you know, and you might break the glass when pulling it out. So
but that's simple. That's not
you just go pick up the evergreen clear plastic. But always take and note, you will have to remove the glass. You will have to remove all the details, because the car, if you want to handle it again, it has to go back inside the oven. And if it goes back inside the oven hot, you're going to ruin all the plastic on there. So your best bet, just remove it.
Great. Some great tips. Well, hey, listen, we appreciate you joining us here on Mail Time. And you know what, customers, just keep the questions coming. And as we have Boyd and others on the show, we'll get them answered for you. So thanks for joining us, Boyd.
All right, you're welcome.
I'm so disappointed Boyd wiped off that masterpiece. I wanted to frame that.
Right?
Nice, Boyd.
Stick to the painting, Boyd.
Put a Boyd tag on that masterpiece.
The artist he's not. Wow. But you know,
expected more.
But it was kind of cool seeing how you can go through and change a number or all of the numbers on the side of a cab.
That was neat.
What a nice technique that he used there. So nice having him on the show.
I guess it kind of makes up for some
Yeah, he'll make up for it. He's useful in some areas.
He's all right.
Yeah, that's cool.
So what else we got to look forward to?
Well, you see what's going on behind us.
I do, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, so I should do a drum roll, but I'm not going to. Anyways, we're revamping our website.
which has been in the works for
Yeah,
a long time
yeah.
behind the scenes. But
Yes.
this will be the single biggest change our customers have ever seen.
Since 2009.
And a big part of the reason is because so many are going to mobile devices,
Right,
whether
right.
it be their iPads, their iPhones, or other mobile devices. And we're able to track that. We mentioned it before on the show. And more of our clientele is using that. And although our site works now on our devices, it will be so much more friendly
Right.
with this update.
You know, it's amazing. We mentioned that on previous episodes how many people are using tablets, cell phones, and such to be able to see our website, which is great because
Yes.
now you can shop on the fly while you're driving. Maybe not while you're driving, but maybe in the passenger
Yeah,
seat.
we wouldn't recommend that. Disclaimer,
Unless
put it
you're
up at the
Boyd.
bottom. Yes.
Unless you're talented Boyd, then you
Shopping
can do
and driving, yeah.
But anyways, they can shop on their devices, and so because of that, we had to make it more mobile friendly. And so with that, we decided to revamp the site.
Right.
Still same great features, but so many more.
Sure.
Since 2009, a lot of websites have gone to ways in which you can filter a lot easier.
Yes.
And so we're going to see that as one of the main features with this website.
But
So-
we realize there are certain ways of shopping that's unique to our customers, and we're not losing that. They can still shop by just listed. They
Absolutely.
can still drill down by their favorite road.
Right.
We'll still have that. They just might have to get a little bit acquainted with the new layout of it.
Yeah. And so what we're going to do is we're going to send out via our little campaigns, email campaigns, little screenshots so that they
Nice.
can get familiar with it. You can see what some of those screens will look like prior to the rollout. Now, we don't know exactly how long it's
No,
going to take,
right.
but these are the initial stages.
We just kind of want to make them aware of what's in the works. And it's for us, it's always been a nonstop. Like, we never stop developing our website.
Yeah.
Our customers might not always realize what's going on, but if it's not the back end, we're always trying to tweak it and make it
Right,
better
right.
and more of a user-friendly experience.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we got coming up on our next episode.
Yeah, you're going to give us some project updates.
Project updates. We're going to talk about, well, first of all, with Jack at Division Point, we know that the John Henrys are coming in.
Right.
We know that the C&O M1s are coming in.
I'm excited
so
about that.
Two
That's a
great,
neat
two
project.
great projects that that we're really looking forward to. John Henrys are already sold out.
Right.
So, but the M1s, we've got a few of those left for reservations. So
They're
make sure
gonna
to
go
check
fast.
our website. They will be sold
Yes.
out. No doubt about it. So we look forward to those.
And Jimmy Booth we're going to get
Jimmy
with.
Booth.
Always
right?
a good time.
Our buddy out in California, Jimmy, right?
I'll drink to that.
Yeah,
Coffee
absolutely.
anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jimmy is going to be on the show coming up, and we're going to be talking about the PRRT ones.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about this before, and Key put out a great T1, but I've seen some of the stuff, we shared some of it, but talking to Jimmy, these are going to be spectacular.
Yeah.
DCC, sound, there's going to be some features, a level of detail that we just haven't seen, and we know he's working really hard to make this just
Sure.
knock this one out of the park, so I can't wait to see it. It's
Yeah.
going to be fun talking
Looking forward
to him.
to that. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of
I enjoyed
MME.
it. Thanks for having me stop by.
Oh, wait. Absolutely. Great.
I'm always here.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you next time on Monday Morning Express.
Thanks for joining us.